All right. Good morning, everyone. It is Monday morning. It's October 14th, 2024. Good morning, AJ.
Morning, sir. How we doing today?
Doing well. We have a legitimate morning episode for you guys. So no pre-recorded from the night before. We're up early here on Monday morning. Gonna dive into some college football recap from Saturday, and then tackle right into Week 6 of the NFL season.
Absolutely. Hopping right in. We had kind of a blowout in the Red River rivalry. Um, Texas 34, Oklahoma 3. I don't think anybody saw this coming.
Nope.
Um,
I thought it was
y-
gonna be at least a close game, like at least
yeah,
a worthwhile game. 3 points for Oklahoma. That's crazy.
yeah. To get 3 points on essentially the first drive of the game, and then uh, not score
Mm,
again.
yeah.
Texas looked
59 minutes
dominant
of
and
just
impressive.
yeah.
Yeah. So they did turn the ball over quite a bit, and Texas just had long drive after long drive after long drive, what felt like. And
Yeah.
they came away with points each time. So um, Texas did what they had to do, and they came out with the W. The next
Here's
game we'll
one.
talk about here is one of the more exciting games of the weekend. Number 9, Ole Miss loses on the road to number 13, LSU. 26 to 29, LSU wins that game. I talk about turnovers a lot, and both teams had two turnovers,
Yep.
so it
Yep.
was sloppy and high scoring and a lot of yards. Both teams over 400 yards, 22 first downs each. I just wild game to watch. Um, and we talked about this earlier. The going into LSU is no slouch.
Yeah. No,
Um,
it's
and those teams in the SEC, they just come ready to play. Um, and
yeah.
I
Yeah,
think that's what
that was
happened
like what
here.
we expected kind of for the Texas Oklahoma game was like two SEC teams fighting it out. So like you expected this, like an overtime field
Yeah,
goal win, like regardless of rank, you expected kind of a dogfight. And yeah, this is the one that you got for that. So yeah, LSU. This plus, I mean, their colors are just so cool. The stadium's so cool. So like you said, it's the overwhelmingness of like how big the stadium is, how many people are packed in there, and how crazy the fans are. But then you double down with just like how cool it is and cool
yeah,
colors. Like it's a show and an entertainment for them. So like yeah, you're rolling into their building, needing to do everything and then some. So
right.
um, yeah, I mean that was a great game though. The next one to roll into, I will let you take. 'Cause I know that that's your favorite. I'm just kidding. Yeah, so Penn State comes in. They beat USC on the road. In overtime, they win 33-30. So Penn State ranked fourth. On a long road trip over to California to play USC. We were talking about it. We thought maybe that road trip takes it out of them. They did somehow hold on. So they win 33-30 on an overtime field goal.
Yeah,
Um, I was like, this was the one of the ones I didn't get to watch as much as I wish I could have this weekend, but this is one that I got to watch on Saturday, and it was one where the whole time you're just waiting, like this is the James Franklin blow up game. This is the one that they lose and they shouldn't have, and
yeah,
yeah, so they pull it out. So this is one of those ones where like the dub is the dub. They're 6-0. It is what it is, but if resume time comes, this is where that college football thing plays in, where they look at it and they go, "Yeah, we barely beat USC." Like this is that thing that it's a resume in college football. So, um, yeah, but I mean, yeah, Penn State gets the wins though. James Franklin 6-0. So I mean, again, they're halfway through the season. They're looking like they should be in the playoffs. So like, is this finally the year that Penn State does it or gets close? Yeah, I guess we shall see. But yeah, I mean, they didn't look as great as you wanted them to look, but they looked good enough to win, and that's
yeah,
I guess all that you can really ask for. So,
yeah. It was. It's a sloppy game by Penn State.
yeah,
I
it
mean,
just
I'm watching this game. You're looking at 20-6 at halftime, and you're like, all right, like I know they still have a second half left, but they gave you nothing to hang your hat on in the first half.
right. You're like, this is it.
Um,
Here it goes.
Yeah, and then they came out. To their credit, they made some adjustments and started getting some touchdowns. And then at the end of the fourth quarter, you're thinking, all right, this is where they blow it. Um, this is what James Franklin does. It's what he's known for.
Yep.
Um, and they, to their credit, they were able to get the touchdown late and then stop USC from scoring because they gave the ball back to USC with like 3 minutes left in a tie football game, 30-30. So you're thinking, okay, there's a good chance that USC goes down the field and scores this. Um, Penn State got incredibly lucky that USC doesn't have a run game. Like it, that's what it comes down to. And to be fair, everybody this year has, because if USC had a run game, they would be very good.
Right.
Um, but yeah, as you were talking about the resume, as a Penn State fan, you kind of have to root for USC the rest of the year.
Yeah, you need them to end
Um,
up ranked. Like you
yeah,
want them to end up being a good team. So
yeah,
it's
because
like
right
a
now, they're
well,
sitting at 3-3, 1-3 in the Big Ten, and you're just like, like
yeah, it
we
should not have
barely
been a
beat
struggle.
them, and it shouldn't have been as close of a game as it was.
No.
Um,
And Penn
so
State doesn't have a terribly easy schedule coming up either. Because I mean, they're on the road now at Wisconsin, so Wisconsin's another unranked team, but it's another
uh-huh,
team like USC, where it's one of those West Coast style football teams. You're traveling across the country. They're home against Ohio State, home against Washington. Washington again unranked, but a team that could definitely prove to be the Big Ten team. They beat Michigan. Like
yeah,
obviously, that's a much different quality of play right now in this year between Michigan and Penn State, but still. And then yeah, I mean they have Purdue, Minnesota, Maryland to finish it out. So I mean that should
yeah,
be a couple of dubs for them to finish it. But yeah, as long as they don't fumble the back, I mean, yeah, Penn State's 6-0. They can afford to lose to Ohio State and win out and definitely make the playoff with one loss.
yeah,
So
absolutely. So
yeah,
as a Penn State fan, you're
yeah,
looking at
exciting to see.
rooting hard for USC. Hopefully, they get ranked for you.
Yeah,
And then, yeah, that really you only have Ohio State left on the schedule, and
yeah,
as Oregon can tell you, that's no slouch.
correct. Okay, yeah, moving right into
Yeah.
it. Perfect segue.
Yep, perfect segue. Yeah, what a game. I don't know if you got to watch this or stayed up for it.
Yeah, I got to see the very, very
Unfortunately,
ending of it. Yeah,
yeah. I watched this game start to finish. Um, wow, back and forth. Oregon 32, Ohio State 31 in regulation. I just, man, it was everything you wanted in a college football game. There was rushing, there was passing, there was, you know, um, just up and down the field for both teams. Eugene, Oregon is a great atmosphere
you know,
from what I see on TV, anyways. I do hope to go there. College bucket list.
yeah.
Um, but
Yeah, it's
yeah,
just weird too. Like these teams are both Big Ten teams now, and
yeah,
so like yeah, this is their first Big Ten matchup. And yeah, like you said, this one was a dogfight. I didn't get to see the first half, but when I was tuned in for second half, and
yeah,
it was a little less scoring in the second half. But yeah, it came out what is it 21-22? Yeah, it was
yeah,
21-22
22.
at a halftime. And so yeah, it just was like this is what you expected. This is what you wanted for two teams like this, a two versus a three, that they
Yeah,
should absolutely be fighting like this. So
yeah. I mean,
um,
almost 1,000 yards of offense. It was
yeah,
punch for punch. One
yeah,
team would
Dylan Gabriel
score. Here
was
comes the next team.
Yeah, Dylan
Um,
Gabriel, the quarterback for Oregon, was lights out in that second half. Even though
yeah,
they only scored 10 points, like he just was getting the ball down the field and using
yeah,
up the time, and then it's in the end he gets the game-winning drive. So
yeah. It was a great game. And that pretty much wraps up college football. There are some other outstanding games, but that was the vast majority of them. The close ones, anyways. Rest of the games in the SEC were basically as you were expect, with the
yeah,
exception of maybe Alabama. It was closer than you expected,
yeah,
but they did get the win.
yeah.
And then everybody
Because that
else.
was one again where I was like, is Alabama fumbling the bag here again?
Yeah,
Like they were down 19-14, and so it was like, all right, like this could be it. And then they
yeah.
have a little fourth quarter rally to come up and get themselves the lead. But
Just looking around, the standings came out yesterday. Penn State bumped up one. Ohio State drops to 4 with the loss to Oregon, so not a huge loss to them. I think that's kind of expected. You're the 2 team, you lose to the 3, you drop, but not that far.
all right,
Big losers. Tennessee dropped 3 with they had a close game, right? To Florida? No, Tennessee didn't play this week. Florida was a couple weeks ago, I believe. So they kind of dropped. Ole Miss dropping down to 18 with their loss to LSU. Again, as
there's a big
expected.
one. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, and
Kansas State pretty much stayed put. I think they were 18. They moved up to 17 with the Colorado win.
yeah. And then in most exciting news for me, Army and Navy both ranked now.
Oh yeah,
23,
that's yep,
25.
yep. That's so exciting.
Can't wait for that game. That's a I, there's a reasonable expectation that those teams are fighting for a playoff spot.
Which is
Um,
such a dogfight kind of game. Like that's
right,
so
yeah,
exciting. That's all you can ask for. It's like a win or go home kind of thing. Buddy, give me
yeah.
1 second.
I also do feel bad for them though because there's reasonable expectations that they're fighting for. Is it the Conference USA American standing?
Yeah,
The
something
conference
else. Yeah,
standing.
they
So they're
just
in
need
the
that
American
conference win, and
Conference.
then
So yeah,
yeah,
well they're likely going to play each other for the conference championship, and then they're going to
yeah,
turn around 2 weeks later and play again in their exhibition game, Army Navy, every year they have. And then one of them's probably, assuming that they don't split those, they'll probably both, or they'll probably one of them will end up in the football
in the
playoffs.
playoff. Yeah, so
So
that's super cool to see.
yeah, I do feel a little bit bad for them though if they do have to end up playing each other and like say Army for whatever reason loses both of those games. Only two losses on the season are to Navy, and you're out of the playoffs.
Yeah, so it definitely sucks. And as Navy, it sucks, but you don't really want to let them have that. Like
Yeah,
you kind of do, but then you don't. Like you want it to show for the military services, but then you're like, nah, fuck that. Like we want to be the ones to be in the top 25 and make the playoff.
yeah.
Like
And then also just in local news, I don't know why we haven't talked about them yet, but the Pittsburgh Panthers, they are 6-0, undefeated, second in the ACC.
I don't think I've even realized that. Honestly,
They
I didn't realize
they
that the
haven't really
Panthers were
played
undefeated.
anybody,
But
but
still, I mean, yeah, 6
yeah,
0
they've
is.
they've got a couple matchups here. 21 SMU coming up, number 10 Clemson. So they'll have some matchups and their chance to prove themselves, but they're quietly back there, just kind of
Yeah.
getting a little bit of steam every week.
Honestly, so is Clemson. Clemson being you just said that behind Clemson. I looked and yeah, Clemson being at 10 is kind of crazy like that. I mean, they are 5-1, but yeah, I just felt like Dabo hasn't had much like heat like hype going around him like the past
Yeah,
couple of years. That Clemson kind of fell off, and yeah, I mean 5-1 sitting at 10th. Yeah, they're looking pretty good right now. But yeah,
yeah.
Pittsburgh, yeah, 6-0 for Pitt is pretty crazy.
All right, moving right along. You want to pick up the NFL Sunday morning game?
Let's do it. Yep. So off into London. I got the text from my sister. There's football on right now. Said yeah. There's I said and gave her the old gift from he was forgetting Sarah Marshall, Paul Rudd. He goes, "You're from London." And that's yeah. I sent her the gift, and she was like, "Okay, yeah, that makes sense." And I was like, "Yeah, they start early on Sundays whenever we have these. It's not every week, but yeah, we got a London game this week. So we got Caleb Williams versus Trevor Lawrence first thing in the morning. Um, Jaguars looked bad, as expected.
Yeah,
They looked worse than they were last week, and they were bad last week, and so they fall to 1-5. They lose 35-16 to the Bears. Caleb Williams 4 touchdowns, rush or 4 passing touchdowns, which is just crazy.
yeah,
He had 3 sacks for 5 yards, so like he was in a good spot yesterday. Wasn't on the ground much, which is good to see. I mean, 3 sacks is still more than you want, but he didn't lose a ton of yards. They didn't have a ton of penalties either. So
yeah,
the Bears just had played like a legitimately efficient game, and so yeah, it was just kind of good to see. But yeah, they just beat up on the Jaguars. It always kind of sucks whenever you have like a bad vibe game first thing in the morning, because it's just like, is this how the whole day is gonna
yeah,
go? But yeah, I mean, it was pretty much a beatdown, and then yeah, there wasn't too much aside from that. But I mean, yeah, Caleb Williams getting his 4 touchdowns. Trevor Lawrence looked okay, but it was back to that same situation where he's just not doing it. Like they're not getting it done, and so now
yeah,
he was this protege first pick overall, but then you end up in Jacksonville where careers go to die, and so now it's just like now what do we do? So
yes,
yeah, I mean yeah, again Bears get the 35-16 win. They move to 4-2, so the Bears are I'm sure thrilled to be at 4-2. Jaguars are in a rough spot with 1-5, and Dougie P leading the helm. So
yeah. The only thing I do want to mention from this game, just the pure difference in their conference standings, or sorry, division standings. Chicago's 4-2 and in last place in their division. Jacksonville is 1-5 and in last place in their division.
right,
And
yeah.
they're fighting with Tennessee for that last spot. So like Jacksonville could be 1-5 and third in their division. Meanwhile, Chicago's 4-2
Four
and
two
last
and
in
last,
theirs.
yeah. But yeah, if it was the
Um,
Vikings, Packers, and Lions, yeah, I
Lions,
guess,
yeah,
yeah. So yeah, you have 4 other teams with 4 wins, or 3 other teams with a minimum of 4 wins, and
yeah,
yeah, it's the
exactly.
Bears.
So
Yeah, wow,
you almost feel a little bit bad for Chicago. We've been
kinda,
giving them a
yeah,
lot of shit this year, but here they are
yeah.
4-2, but they're still
In a
last in their
solid
division.
division,
Yeah,
yeah,
so they'll have their chance to prove themselves. We talk about measuring stick games. There are a few of them this weekend.
yeah.
Coming up, like next week, they have Jaden Daniels, and Washington coming to town.
Yeah,
So
that'll be a
that'll be a
solid
good
one.
matchup. Their defense, Jaden Daniels is no slouch. Ask the Ravens. Um,
Yeah,
and so,
it's not easy to just put him away.
exactly. So, and then Caleb Williams, it's now week 7. Do you have your shit together? Find out.
Yep. Yeah. But yeah, no, yeah. Like you said, yeah, early morning beat down, and as soon as that game ends, it pretty much leads you right into the 1 o'clock slate. And
Yep.
so, yeah, this was one too where we had a, I think
Keep
it
it in the
was,
division here.
yep, yeah, yeah, and I
Yeah.
think it was 6 games in the morning, 4 in the afternoon, night game. So
Yeah,
yeah, like
something like
we had a
that.
good spread up, and it wasn't too many games at 1 o'clock, but.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Packers Cardinals keeping it in the division there with the Packers.
Yep.
They like you said they're 4-2 now. They beat the Cardinals 34-13.
Yeah.
Cardinals fall to 2-4, so they're kind of back to the team that we expected, being negative, few games under 500, losing
Yeah.
games like this by a handful of touchdowns. Like this is kind of where I think we all thought the Cardinals were going to be. I don't think that we expected them to be putting 40 some on the Rams or beating the Bills on opening night or whatever it was. That second
Right.
week that they ran up the score and the Bills and lost. Like those were the two oddball games that they won, and now this is back, like I said, to where we
Yeah.
expected. Call of Duty's coming out soon. Kyler's checking out. Like, yeah, it's just we're
Yeah.
back into that the humorous of that. But yeah, it's the Cardinals don't look great. Marvin Harris Jr. got hurt very early on, so like I mean that kind of depreciates
Yeah.
everything you have going for passing game or any kind of momentum you could have had. So I mean, yeah, Jordan Love looked good though. Like the Packers look solid. That's like you said, 4-2 sucks to be at in that division because you're
Look,
essentially
with
tied for
Jordan Love
like
missing that time, I don't know that you could be any happier as a Packer
the
fan.
true, yeah, and that's it. They realistically could be 6-0 with that. Like that's, I mean, they lost to the Eagles. So, I mean, yeah, 5-1 without it, but yeah, I mean, it's yeah, the Packers look good. Like again, I didn't expect them to look this good. I didn't. The Cardinals, I think, are right where I thought they would be. But yeah, the Packers,
Yeah.
yeah, they're a little bit better than I thought they would. I thought Love would take another year or two to kind of get it going. I didn't have a ton of faith in their wide receiver room. Like just looking at the box score, like Christian
Yeah.
Watson, Romeo Dobbs, Ben Sims, Jaden Reed, Josh Jacobs. Like there's not a ton of big names on there that you love to see out there. I mean, Christian Watson and Romeo Dobbs are, but other than that, then like who are they throwing to? So yeah, so I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, good on
There's
Love to get
nobody
it
that
done.
scares you just looking at their name
Right,
in their wide receiver room, but they get the
right.
job done. So,
Yeah,
and I think that's a credit to Matt LaFleur. He puts his players in good positions
yeah,
and
oh yeah. It's one of
gives
those
them a
coaching tree
chance.
kind of things.
Gives them the chance.
Yeah. Speaking of giving people a chance, yes,
Yeah,
Mr. Joe Flacco.
your
Love to see
boy.
him getting the start there. Yeah, it was a great game to see because Flacco again, like I said, gets to start. Possibly big news, either injury or demotion wise, though, was that Anthony Richardson was listed as the third team quarterback. So it was another one where is he so hurt that they're just kind of considering him active, or are they using this as like the Joe can do it? Let's start working other options. So it'll be interesting to see how the Anthony Richardson experiment works.
I don't think,
Um,
just my opinion on this, I don't think so. You'll notice the Steelers did it with Russell Wilson as
that's
well.
yeah, just kind of like an
Just
inactivity
listing,
thing, like
he's
yeah,
listed
just
as a
listed on.
third just to kind of like, you're not going in, like, set that bar
Yeah,
before the game even
yeah.
starts. That, like,
Giving your
even if he
backup the
gets
kind of
hurt,
the
like,
backup, and then that's his day to make sure you're warmed up because you're not the third today. Like if Joe
yeah,
goes down, you're in. Like
right,
Anthony is in. So yeah, it's
exactly.
just always odd to see whenever you see him listed third or they mention it because it's like, oh damn, like you're not even in the backup capacity. But yeah, I mean, if you're too hurt or if they don't have faith in you, either way, that's yeah. But I think it's a too hurt situation where they just were like, he's not playing, drop him down. But yeah, not a fantastic game. It was not. It was just an ugly game.
Yeah,
Will Levis less than 100 yards passing. Flacco less than 200 yards passing. So we have 189 and 95. So no sacks for either team. So it's always good to see that when the quarterbacks are standing on their feet. But yeah, I mean, it was just an ugly game. Tennessee is just like we just talked about the Cardinals. They're kind of who we thought they were at 1-4. Like they were going to lose these
yeah,
games. Colts barely winning these kind of games. They sit at 3-3. So again, kind of to be expected. But yeah, I mean, I love watching Joe Flacco play. It's just so fun. It's just like one of the last of a dying breed. Like he's one of the
yeah,
last few that we have that are like that. So yeah, I mean, yeah, it's just the Colts are going to scratch and claw for every win this year, and I don't know if they have the kind of Cinderella effect to make it worthwhile in the wild card situation. Can Joe win a game or two and get them some momentum and put them in a good spot? I don't see that
uh,
happening for Indianapolis. So they kind of fight their way all season just to scratch and claw, and then it's like then what? Because Richardson isn't practicing or doing well or whatever, and you had Flacco this year, so
Yeah.
yeah, I'm nervous for the Colts. They have hope, but they have a rough season ahead of them, I think, and the Titans are just in a shitty spot. I think they might be one of the worst in the NFL right now.
I agree. I think Tennessee's only saving grace is Jacksonville, that they don't end up last in their division.
Yeah,
Um,
or the league.
yeah. Indy, look, you're gonna probably be around 500. It seems that you win the games that are close or you're supposed to, and you lose the games that you shouldn't. Although you did lose last week to Jacksonville, so
I mean, like
um,
you said, lose the games you shouldn't.
yeah. So I don't know. We'll see what happens, but I see them right around 500.
Yeah, that's
Maybe
yeah.
they sneak out
Fighting and
two games
clawing
above
for it.
500
No.
and sneak into the playoffs. It's I don't know. It just seems like, look, I understand that somebody has to make it, but it seems
Right.
like everybody in the league this year is just having a down year. Like,
Yeah, it's just everyone except for the Chiefs. But yeah, the
yeah,
Chiefs and the Vikings are just running through
right,
everyone. But yeah, aside from
yeah.
that,
And then
it's tough
here
looking.
we are in week 7, and I'm sitting here like, okay, there's not really too much of a spread in the NFL. Like,
Right? Yeah. No.
it's
Not.
wild. The
Yeah,
wild teams out
especially in
there
games
for
like
it.
that, like 20-17. Like it's two
Yeah,
shitty teams, but it still is giving you a close game to
right.
watch. Like I said, it wasn't fantastic
Those
play,
games
but
can
like
go
it
either
was.
way.
Yep. Yeah. It ends up going either way, but kind
Speaking
of
of
a
games that can't go either way,
yeah, this one was kind of expected.
yeah,
Yeah, the Texans to run away with this one. It was Drake May's first start. Um, does come out and throw 3 touchdowns, took a couple of sacks, but
yeah,
almost 250 yards passing. So I think Drake May gave Patriots fans a lot of hope this weekend getting to see him play. They just couldn't keep up with the Texans, which was to be expected though. For
yeah,
every 1 touchdown they got, the Texans had 2. So it just was like
yeah,
the Texans were scoring, Patriots would sneak in and score, Texans would score immediately, and then it was rinse and repeat. And so he did that a couple of times. And yeah, I mean, actually, I just now checked, I'm looking at the box score. I just realized that it really is 14-0 and then 7, and then, excuse me, 13-7, 14-7. So it quite literally was 2 touchdowns to 1 for everyone almost. But yeah, so the Texans look good. CJ Stroud was out there balling out, less than 200 yards passing, but I mean, Joe Mixon had it cooking, so I mean, he had 100 yards and a touchdown.
yeah,
Thankful for my fantasy team, but yeah, it
yeah,
was an okay game to watch, but yeah, I mean this was one that I did catch. Texans move up to 5-1 though with the 41-21 win over the Patriots. So I mean, yeah,
yeah.
the Texans are in good hope, they're in good spot, but yeah, the Patriots are not great this year, but they have at least some hope now in the
Yeah.
Drake May situation.
The Texans are now in the position where you don't fall apart, you win the games you're supposed to, and you make the
Yeah,
playoffs.
yep, and
Um,
a solid seed too, a
yeah,
1 or 2 seed if you just keep doing business.
yeah, and even if you don't, you're gonna be 3 or 4 because you won your division.
Yeah, that's
So,
true. Yeah,
like, just stay healthy,
keep it up.
win the
Yeah,
games you're
stay
supposed
healthy,
to.
keep it up. Yep.
If you're New England, I agree. You saw some hope with Drake May. Made some rookie errors and throwing an interception here and there, but that's gonna happen. Uh, but I think you just have to almost be concerned, um, given that what are you gonna do with Drake May?
Yeah, they have to
You're
build around him now
yeah,
because they have nothing. They have no
yeah,
offensive
and
line. They have no
so
real run game. Like
right as
Stevenson is a career backup kind of player, and he's starting for them. Like it's
yeah, um, and so I just I pray that he stays healthy and can kind of stay on track and he doesn't just get lost on another bad team that the Patriots have become since losing Belichick Brady.
right.
Um, so we'll see what happens there. Moving down south, the Buccaneers hang a fitty piece.
Yeah, the 50
Going into
bucket.
New Orleans, hang a fitty piece. New Orleans or Buccaneers 51, New Orleans 27. Um, wow, just
Yeah,
I feel like every time I was looking in NFL Red Zone, they were showing another point scored in this
I feel like
game.
I had to kept checking that I wasn't watching Red Zone and that I was watching the Saints Bucks game because I was like, can
Yeah,
we watch another game? And it was like, oh, they're in the fucking Red Zone again. Like, okay, again. Because yeah, at halftime it was what 34, 51. Yeah, it was 51 points at halftime
yeah,
between the two. It was 27-24. So like, yeah, you knew this was going to be a fight. Saints come out really slow and then completely lose all steam going into the second half. They put all 27 points in the second quarter,
yeah,
and the Bucks just had an even scoring attack from the start. So like Baker was lighting it up, 325 yards and 4 touchdowns, 3 picks, made this closer than it even should have been. If Baker keeps that clean, this game could have been
Yeah.
even more lopsided than it was. It could have been a 51-10 kind of game. Like the Bucks were just rolling. This is who we expected them to be, though. That offense, we expected them to be high flying. Bucky Irving is killing it like that. He got
Yeah.
that going. Sean Tucker was a little bit of an unexpected kind of dog this game, but
Yeah.
over 130
Absolutely.
yards rushing. But I mean, yeah, the receivers that they have down there with Chris Godwin and Mike Evans, Sterling Shepard, like they have people that can catch the ball. And so I mean, if Baker's playing hot, like the Bucks are a real team.
His 600
Um,
yards of offense is no,
yeah, like that's
no joke.
yeah, that's crazy.
Especially against the Saints. Like, I look, the Saints kind of look like who we thought they would be
Yeah,
before they went 2-0 in the season, and we were all like, whoa.
yep, yeah. This is a
Um,
little more to be expected.
yeah, but 6 turnovers and what I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 touchdowns. So there were
Yeah,
at
that's
minimum
crazy.
there's 16 plays that they were showing on red zone. Yeah, I agree with you. It's just wild and
Yeah, they've been Anton Winfield Jr. had a. I just counted him up on offense in the box score. It was only nine. But yeah, Anton Winfield Jr. had a defensive touchdown for the Bucks. He had a pick return for a touchdown. Or was it a fumble return possibly?
uh, I thought that was
And one
his punt return, right?
oh yeah, you're right. You're right. You're
Yeah,
right. You're right.
yeah, punt return. So yeah, moving right along, we'll come back up to Philadelphia. Yeah, we got the win. Yeah, we looked bad. I I don't know what else to say.
Yeah.
Deshaun Watson, I I don't know what you're doing if you're Cleveland.
Yeah.
Um,
Especially, I saw that report like moments after the game ended. Deshaun Watson staying our quarterback. Why? What
yeah,
are you doing? Like, what is the point? Like, why?
I
I
guess he
again, this
spent a
this
lot
feel,
of money.
yeah,
Like,
this feels like that where they're like, we spent money on him, we're gonna make it work.
yeah,
Or I told the owner this was a bad idea. I'm showing him why it's a bad idea. Like, this feels
yeah,
dysfunctional as fuck. The Browns doing Browns things,
yes,
and just
yeah,
give me Jameis Winston. Stop playing her. Just give me Jameis Winston. I
right.
don't want him on the bench. That's so stupid.
Yeah. And then, I mean, look, I have no room to talk as an Eagles fan. We've made bad decision after bad decision. When it comes to the end of the game, you're down a touchdown, and I understand in order to win the game, you have to kick a field goal. But with like a minute left in the game, they pick up a first down, and then they just immediately trot the field goal unit on to kick it.
Yeah.
And I'm just like,
I've
I
never been a
don't.
fan. Yeah, I've never been a fan of the take the points now and then try to score the touchdown later. Like, no, just try to get in the
I,
end zone now. Like, just try to get
if
the
it,
fucking end zone.
my argument here is if the field goal puts you within 3 points where you can kick another field goal and tie or win the game, I I get it, but it doesn't. So you still
Yeah,
have to score a
right.
touchdown.
Yeah, that. Yeah,
Um,
it's yeah.
so I don't know. Again, look, I'm no coach.
I say I'm not a coach, I
Don't
guess.
I don't have room to talk because I'm an Eagles fan, but unfortunately the Browns got outcoached, which is saying something.
Yep. Because
Um,
speaking of Eagles coaching, Nick Sirianni gets into it with the fans. Says he's tired of the booing.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
So that I feel like
when you
is
put
just not a
up
good
one
look.
point in the first quarter, maybe we want to boo you.
Yeah, I think that is not a good look though, because like Philly is known for this, and this is one of those things where it's like once it's said, now it's gonna spiral out of control.
Oh,
Like, oh, Nick can't handle Philly. Oh, like he could have just shut the fuck up. You could have just shut up and not said a goddamn word
yeah.
and moved on. And no, you
You
already in a
open that door
weird,
now.
weird hot seat situation. You're gonna now call out the fans like. Shut up! Let them boo. They're like it. Shut up! Like
Yeah.
that. Yeah, I feel like that was not a good look for Sirianni, especially in the situation that we're at. I mean, yeah, you guys move it. You moved to 3-2, so you moved the needle back over 300 or over 500, but not in like a convincing fashion. Like you said, you beat the
Yeah.
Browns, but this was kind of a trap game for you guys, where it was either you lose, you're under 500, you guys suck, or you beat the Browns, and it's oh, who gives a shit? You beat the Browns.
Yeah.
So yeah, so not much of a win mentally or in locker room win for you guys this week, but you
Yeah.
did get AJ Brown back, did get a touchdown, which is sweet. Amari Cooper
Devontae
for the
too.
Browns. Yeah, Devontae Smith also got a touchdown.
Yeah. But we
Amari
may
Cooper
have
for the
lost Dallas
Browns
Goddard for a little
looks
bit.
like he should
So
just retire. Dallas Goddard did go down,
yes.
so that was rough, but
Yeah. So the Browns dealt with a ton of injuries, both sides of the football. Um, I don't know. I want to ask you this: how do you feel about this new field goal setup where basically one player is just putting their hands on the back of the long snapper so he can't stand up, and the guy on the other side is jumping over it, blocking the
Yeah,
kick. What do you do?
I am back to my original thought of I forget his name. The Entourage guy. Damn it, it's escaping me right now. But he and Larry David on his interview with Rich Eisen, he had said, "Just get rid of the fucking kickers. Why are the kickers out there? No more field goals. No more punts. No more kickoffs. No more any of it. Like, why are we even? Because that again, like you're playing this game of." Could you do that on a regular 2nd and 10? Could you push the center down and get over him for a running play or a passing play? Like maybe, maybe not. No, because his head isn't down. Like that's football. So like, why are we doing 90% of that for the game and then allowing this one weird play where it's like, all right, let's line up 10 line or 9 linemen and one hat holder and one kicker. Like it's not a football play. There's no quarterback. There's no running back. There's no receivers. Like it's just always just so weird. And so now basically my point was is that like now you're in this situation where we put all this focus on the kickoff and moving the extra points back and making sure the long snapper can't get hold. You're not allowed to jump the line. Like, just fucking scrap it. Like, why are we adding all these little rules to it? Like, just scrap this shit. Like, just it's 4th down, go for a touchdown or it's the other team's ball. That's it. Like, it's kind of to that point. Like I said, it was such a far fetched, like crazy thought. Like, if you were a commissioner for a day, what would you do? And Larry David was like, get rid of the fucking kickers. And it like every time we run into these situations now, I'm like, it actually kind of does make sense. Like, and this is one of those ones where it's like you want that in there. It's an extra tweak on the game. Like it's a variety of scoring, but at the same time, like we just always end up having all these problems with it. And so, yeah, I hate that these situations come up because it's like the tush push. Like, is it legal? Does it work? Are they going to outlaw it? How do you outlaw it? Is there loopholes to just keep doing it? And so, yeah, I think that this becomes that you don't hold him down, but you dive under his legs so he's looking down, and then someone jumps. Like there's always going to be some weird thing because like this, we went a few years whenever they said you can't jump over the person or you can't
Right.
push him over before somebody figured this out, and now it's
Uh-huh.
just hold him down and then jump over. It's like you said, yeah. I like it in the aspect of they didn't write the rules good enough, so we found a loophole. We're going to use it.
Sure.
I don't like it in the aspect of like it does seem dumb, like, but like also
It's
giving
2 weeks in a
somebody
row now that it's happened where
it's
they
happened
jumped
and
the
it
line
worked.
and blocked the kick. So
Yeah,
I
and it's but
expect it to
yeah,
happen more often.
way more often. That's where it's like all of a sudden if we're blocking damn near every one of them, like you're gonna get fumbled snaps because the long snapper's trying to get up quicker. Like yeah, so you're gonna start getting some interesting things happening on those extra points and on those field goals. But
Yeah.
yeah, I don't love that there's like a give it one Mississippi before you touch that guy. Like no, the ball snapped. Fucking run through everyone like
Yeah.
that. Yeah, it's an odd play that there's this like little special bubble around the snapper. But I mean, I get it like for safety reasons and stuff. But yeah, again, I don't love that we're catering to this one weird 5 to 10% ish of a game for that kind of play or that special teams play or whatever. But
That's an interesting take. I did not expect that from you, I'll be honest.
I heard it as a joke the one time. Larry David was like, "Get rid of all the kickers and the punters," and I was like, "That's fucking crazy." And then like we run into situations like this, and it's like that actually like kind of checks out. Like if you just did that, like you just kind of eliminate the need for all of that and all the extra politics and chaos that comes with it. Like just play football, like run it or throw it. Like that's it. So
do you do you have anything then? I have so many questions. So to be
it's
fair, this
odd.
is the first I've heard of this take of eliminating kickers altogether.
Oh, I thought I had mentioned it before because I'll have to
But
send you the clip then of it. But yeah, it's basically Larry David talking to Rich Eisen. And he says that he's like, "You're commissioner for a day. What do you do?" And he's like, "Rich, the first thing I'd do is get rid of the kickers." And he's like, "Why? Is this 140-pound guy up there deciding games?" And he was like, "I don't understand." And it's like that also kind of makes sense too. Like, you have these players out there fighting all game long. Dude's over there like playing on his iPad, just kicking some kicks, hanging out, and then gets to go in with 2 seconds left, kick a field goal, and game win, and he wins. Like if I'm the other team, like I want to arm wrestle that guy. Like let me have a race with that guy. Like why did that guy just beat me? So yeah, I think that the kicking it's always been kind of an odd thing. It's when you actually sit and look at it like that. Again, I questions. Yeah, like what do you do for kickoffs? That 4th and 25 thing. Do you just give it to the other team at the 25? Like there's a lot of things there. And again, like the kickoffs are exciting when they get a touchdown or whatever. But like
yeah,
what are our percentages there? One out of however many. So it's like the extra
I
point. Like it was two automatic, so they had to back it up, and then it was still two automatic, so they had to back it up. So it's like, why do we keep like just scrap it, just push that shit aside and move on? So yeah,
that's
it's
a
definitely
bold take.
it is. It's a wild take, but like it always kind of it comes back up every since I've heard it. I just we run into these situations where I'm like, well, this would solve that. Like just cut that whole special teams, and that would solve that.
Fair enough. Well,
But
moving into, was this your favorite game of the weekend?
I mean, yeah, aside from that Bucks Saints game, because it's just fun to
Okay.
see scores score a 50 piece. But yeah, I mean, this one was a fight, and that's what you want to see. Like the
Yeah.
Commanders were just trying to claw their way back and couldn't quite get it done. But yeah, Ravens get the win at home in Baltimore, which is not a long drive for the Commanders, but 30-23 puts both teams at 4-2. Yeah, I mean, Ravens 0-2 start to the Chiefs and the Raiders, and now on a 4-game streak. So Raiders are who we thought they were, or
Yeah.
Ravens are who we thought they were. They could be even better if they didn't have that Raiders slip.
Yeah.
Commanders, this was kind of a win-win game for them. Just keep it up, just keep up with them, and you're okay. Your
Yeah.
resume looks all right. Don't get blown out so that everyone thinks you were fake, but just yeah, try to keep up, and they did just that. So yeah,
Yep,
Jane
they did.
Daniels looked just good enough.
I agree. I think this game went as expected, where it was okay. The Ravens are going to win this game, but by how much is the question? How good
Yeah,
are the Reds, Commanders? Um,
I'm not the only one.
yeah. So how good are they? And to be fair, they showed up, and I think their weakness is their defense, and the Baltimore Ravens proved that with a potent offense.
Yeah,
And look, there's not very many defenses in the NFL right now that I would trust to stop the Ravens on
correct.
any given day.
Nope.
Um, so
And I'm
the
taking their defense over a lot of other defenses. So you
correct,
put
yeah.
that into perspective. They're gonna score. They're probably gonna keep you from scoring. You're
Yeah.
more than likely not going to win
So to
that
have a
game.
one
Like,
possession
yeah,
game, I think is a
for
win for the
the
Commanders.
100%. Yeah, it sucks because you don't want any moral victories and it's a bunch of grown men in a locker room. But like, you guys did just lose one touchdown away from a team that
Right.
probably might be in the
We've
Super Bowl or conference
yeah,
championships. Like, yeah,
we've
it's
talked about their schedule. There are some easy W's for the taking on this schedule. Um, and so I think you kind of have to be pretty happy with the outcome there.
oh for
Not
Washington.
yeah for
Yeah, yeah,
Washington.
yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah. When it comes to Baltimore, yep, you won the game you were supposed to. You're
yeah.
better
Good
than that
job.
0 and
Do it
2
again.
start. Don't know what happened there, but you're back leading the division. You have that's Monday night game this week.
Yep, we have a doubleheader this
Buccaneers
week.
Ravens.
Yeah,
So that'll be a great game. Uh, Again, we talked about measuring stick games. I think this is one of them. I
for
think
both teams too.
yeah,
Yeah,
I think going back to the game we were talking about, Washington Baltimore, that was a measuring stick for Washington. I think they
yep,
measured up pretty well. And
yep,
now Baltimore's going into what I would call one of their measuring stick games against the Buccaneers,
yeah. And the
especially going to
Commanders.
Tampa.
Yes, I was
Um,
gonna say that. Yeah, being in Tampa after they
so
had talked about that with the flooding and everything and the hurricane that they wanted to win this one for back home, and so winning 51 points in New Orleans. Now they're headed home back to Tampa. So I mean, assuming that all the storm cleanup is done by then, because I know that it wasn't as bad once it hit land and everything. So I mean, it's still pretty bad. I don't mean to downplay it, but it wasn't as bad as anticipated. So
yeah,
having all of the rescuers and storm relief on hand, you're assuming that they'll have things cleaned up sooner than later. So with that being said, the game should still be on next week in Tampa. It shouldn't get relocated or anything like they had originally thought it could. But yeah, I mean Baltimore. That's a must win for them because the Bucks aren't. They're a good team, but they're more of just a high scoring team. I don't know if they're a deep playoff team, and so the Ravens. This is one where yeah, they really got to get that win.
yeah,
And yeah, like you said, the Commanders' schedule is very favorable. They have at home with Carolina next week, so you get a tough loss against the Ravens with your head held high, and now you get to beat up on a shitty team to get back to where you were, and you're sitting at 5-2. So yeah,
yeah.
excited for the Commanders, excited for the Ravens. Like that, they're both in good spots. They're young, healthy teams, and so it's yeah, it's exciting to see.
You wanna move to Denver?
Not really. Yeah, we suck so bad. This is what I expected. I literally had said to Kaylee, I said I just feel like we're gonna get blown out today, and then like an hour later we're down 20-0, or 23-0. Sorry.
23, yeah,
And then yeah, we score our 16 points just in garbage time in the fourth quarter. So looks like it was a one touchdown game, but it was not even remotely close to being a one
yeah,
touchdown game. It was 23-0, pretty much. Bo gets his lucky two touchdowns late, but yeah, it we just look terrible. It's just like
yeah,
I said, this is just one of those ones where all of our wins, it was like this is just prolonging next season. So like it's cool that we got some dubs, but like just get us a draft pick and move on. Like trade for a quarterback, do something. Because again,
yeah,
I don't know that Bo is the answer. Justin Herbert looked pretty good. Jim Harbaugh had to take off the sideline, made a joke about having like a heart condition. He said we're 2-0 when I've had my heart flare ups. So
yeah,
Joe Harbaugh is hilarious. He is one of the best, but Yeah, I mean, I thought maybe we would sneak one away from the Chargers. They were coming off a bye though, and that's yeah. I guess we just didn't have any juice left, and yeah, they came out strong, and they yeah 23-0 is hard to bounce back from, and yeah, we just looked rough on all aspects. We couldn't run the ball, we couldn't pass. Like we were just struggling to get anything going against the Chargers. And I mean, they have a decent defense. That they've got um, Bosa and Mack. Like they have legitimate players back there, but it just yeah, we did not get anything going at all.
Yeah, yeah. You played into, as Michigan fan, watched Jim Harbaugh a lot.
Yeah,
You
he
played
just killed
into
us.
the way he wants games to go, which is
25 carries for
yeah.
J.K. Dobbins.
I'm gonna run it down your throat. I'm gonna waste a lot of time. I'm gonna play good defense. You're not gonna score, and I'm just gonna continue to just put points on the board. Touchdown, field goal.
J.K.
Touchdown,
Dobbins
field
almost
goal.
ran it as much as Bo Nix threw it. Like Bo
Right?
Nix had 33 passing attempts, and
Yeah.
J.K. for every one of those, J.K. Dobbins picked up 4 yards on a run. Like yeah,
Right.
we could not stop him.
Yeah. And so then you look at it and you're like, well, how many rushes did they have overall?
Yeah, 38 for the Chargers, 18 for the
Yeah.
Broncos. So
So
38
yeah,
rushing
38
attempts. We had
rushes,
33 passing
33
attempts.
passes. Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, he just unfortunately that's the way it worked out. And I know Patrick
We
Surtain went
suck.
down with concussion, so
Yes.
hopefully he's good.
Or else
And
we are really fucked.
yeah, but yeah, you got the two turnovers, and that's just Jim Harbaugh. That's how he wants to play football games.
Yeah.
And to his credit,
Yeah.
it works more often than not. So yeah, moving right along down to Los Angeles or Las Vegas rather.
Ooh.
Uh, our hometown Steelers.
I had to check real quick. The Broncos are not last in their division. The Raiders are 2-4, so we're sitting pretty at third. We
Yeah,
suck. We suck so bad. But anyway, yeah, hometown Steelers. Yeah, our Pennsylvania teams.
yeah.
Um,
Uh,
yeah, they get a convincing
I
win.
yeah. Is it
I mean, I guess they were supposed to do this for having a bad
right?
team. You have the quarterback controversy. There's all kinds of shit going on in their locker room, and they're trading for Devontae, blah blah blah. But you expected this one to then maybe them fumble us and this be a close game, and they didn't let it get close. Like the Steelers knew they
That's
needed this one. They had to keep
fair.
it. Like yeah, that's yeah. I was expecting this to be that 20-17 game where it was just ugly and shitty both ways, but it was uglier and
The
shittier for the Raiders.
this yeah, the Raiders turning the ball over 3 times,
Oh,
and I think most of them were in their own territory. So like
yeah, you're not.
the
Yeah,
Steelers defense was basically setting the offense up in field goal range already. Um, I and the Steelers, to their credit, took advantage of it.
very much so.
So if you're the Steelers, you're tied for the division with Baltimore. I it doesn't it doesn't
Feel like it?
feel right,
No.
but I
Yeah, they
guess
had
it
that
is.
lucky 3-0 start, and then 1-2 since. I mean, yeah, they were
Yeah.
0-2 after the 3-0, and then they
Um,
beat the Raiders. So yeah, I mean, it's
but
not too much to take home, but
to their credit, they could easily be sitting here at 7-2 with looking at the at home versus the Jets, at home versus the Giants, and at the Washington Commanders. Um, at the
yeah, Jets and
Commanders is no
Giants
slouch,
should be. Yeah, Jets
but
and Giants should be a couple of dubs for them though to kind
I
of stay in the argument.
right. So I don't know. We'll see how it plays out. They're setting themselves up well to be a contender in the AFC. Um, just playing. Look, if they can accept playing the Jim Harbaugh style, and we're gonna play good defense, we're gonna run the ball a lot. Najee Harris is no joke. Uh, Justin
Yeah,
Fields do just enough, um, and
Najee
don't
Harris had
turn the ball
14
over.
carries for 107 yards, which comes out to a 7.6
Right?
yard average. Yeah, you
Yeah.
hand him the ball and you basically have a first down. Like
Yeah.
that's you're not losing that game. So
Exactly. So, and I understand the Raiders are bad. They just
yeah,
are.
yeah.
Somehow they won 2 games, and I think that's their detriment because that's going to give them a win more than probably 2 or 3 other teams in the league. Um, and they turn the ball over 3 times. You lose that football game. Just is what it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
Uh,
I'll let you lead that next one because I know you're excited.
I am. America wins. Is that the best
America
way to say
wins.
it?
Yeah, backs the
Detroit
new Detroit
47,
new American
Dallas
team.
9. Yeah. Um, I think this is what you get with the Cowboys every year. They come out, they play well, They
This is our
typically,
year.
yeah, they typically beat the teams by a lot that you expect them to beat, and then they play a good team and they get crushed. Um,
Yeah, they just had like what
Two
stuck out to me
interceptions,
was
three
they had no run
fumbles.
game. Like the Cowboys could not get it going. Like
Yeah,
17 carries for the team for 53 yards on a 3.1 average versus double their carries, 36 with a little bit more than 184 yards for almost quadruple the yards for a
right.
5.1 yard average. Like
Yeah,
yeah, the Lions just like they did the Jim Harbaugh where they just ran and ran and ran and the Cowboys could not get it going. Ezekiel looks terrible. Like no
yeah,
one could get anything going and then Goff is playing out of his mind right now. And so,
sure
yeah, the
is.
Lions are in
He's
an
playing
amazing
confident
spot.
football.
Yeah, see, they're in an amazing spot. The Cowboys are looking rough. I mean, they dropped to 500. So, I mean, they're, again, kind of where we expected, though. Like, they're going to lose these games and win the shittier ones.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah,
I
I mean,
don't know.
yes.
So next week, uh, Dallas travels to San Francisco. I believe that's the Sunday night game. So I don't know. Were they looking ahead? I don't know how you look.
Dallas is on a bye next week.
Oh,
Following week is home against
fair.
San Francisco. So yeah,
Um,
Dallas is heading into the bye off a really bad loss. That's a rough week listening to Mike McCarthy.
yeah. So I don't know. I don't even know what to say. They were bad in every aspect. They couldn't throw the ball. They couldn't run the
No.
ball. They weren't playing very good defense.
No, yeah, it was tough. And I think that one of the
It's
biggest takeaways from this game is Aiden Hutchinson.
yes, yeah.
Fucking broken tibia, basically snapped his leg on.
Did you see the
Such a
picture?
I didn't see the picture. I watched the
Oh,
play though, but like, such a freak play. Like the way he did it, he
yeah,
grabs dude's shoulders and basically just momentum swings his body around, and somebody else is coming in with a knee lifted up, and he just fucking shinned a knee and just
yeah,
leg just wraps around the way it's not supposed to, and
yeah.
yeah, that's a tough
So
break because that's out for the season, and Aiden Hutchinson's been a dog for them, and so that is a true like that removes kind of the contender title to them. I think
you
like
think?
I think so. Like losing him on defense, like I think that's gonna put in like you think of any other team that loses a defensive lineman like that, like 49ers losing like a Bosa, for the Chargers losing a Bosa, the
Sure.
Steelers losing Watt. Like you have a situation like that where one of those go down, like you're in a tough spot. And so
Yeah.
yeah, I'm hoping for the Lions because they do have a good team. Other than that, it's not like he's that one player that's carrying the defense. So
Right.
I just think that puts in a giant hole on their line and a target on the backup's back. Like they're running
Yeah.
at that guy. They're
Right.
running
For
through
sure.
that guy next to whoever's playing the Lions next. So
For
they're
sure.
they're at Minnesota next week. So that's a
Okay.
tough game for
And
Detroit. Yeah.
division.
It
I
is,
don't
yeah. It's
know.
gonna be.
I don't know
Hopefully,
who
it's a
they got.
dogfight. Yeah,
Yeah.
hopefully it is a dogfight. But yeah, Minnesota's coming off of a 5-0 bye week, and then the Lions they have a moral win with the 47-9. They have the paper win, but a huge loss in the locker room having Aiden Hutchinson go down. So yeah, we'll see how that turns out.
And then the final 4 o'clock game, the Falcons go into Carolina and win 38-20.
Yeah,
Don't think this was surprising.
nope.
Maybe the Panthers putting up 20 points was the most surprising part about this game.
Legitimately, yeah.
Um,
Because that moment of as soon as it was 7-7 after the first quarter, you're like, is Atlanta really gonna fuck this up? And then
yeah,
they started getting it together and just kind of pulling away piece by piece.
yeah.
So
So they did their job. They did what they were supposed to. Bijan had an incredible game.
yeah.
And
So did Algier.
yeah,
Algier.
Algier, yeah. And then I don't know if you watched this game. I was just watching
I
Red
did
Zone
not.
in the
Yeah, I
afternoon,
was. Yeah.
and I was so disappointed in Atlanta's defense. That man with the pick six, Clark Phillips the third. Uh, what a team player! But damn it, for my fantasy team, did you f me?
Do you have the Atlanta's defense or?
Yes, I had Atlanta's
You
defense.
should get in the end
And
zone.
he picked it off, and I'm sitting on the couch like, yeah, go, 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 go. And then he lays down at like the 3 yard line. I'm like,
What are you
what
doing?
kind
Why
of
are you?
defensive player are you?
Why are you
Walk
making
into
good?
the end zone.
Why are you making good, sensible, strategical decisions?
Yeah.
That's stupid.
So,
Yeah, I hate those, especially too for like those players that like this is their one and only shot for a touchdown, and the whole sideline is screaming, "Get down, get down, get down!" And they're like,
yeah.
"But the end zone is right there. It's
Yeah.
right there. I'm looking
Yeah.
at it. Like this is
So,
my like you can. This might be their only touchdown in their career. Like that's the ball they give
right.
throughout the family and the grandkids, and instead it's." I almost scored a touchdown, but I laid down at the 3 so we could win the game. And like that just does not, as cool as it is and important as it is in the moment, it just does not carry over on the legacy nearly as much. And yeah,
Yeah.
so it's
So
always tough to see them give up a touchdown. That sucks for anyone.
right. So I mean, props to him for being an amazing team player.
Yeah, that's yeah, made the right
But
decision to end the
my
game.
man, I
Get in the fucking end zone.
I'm never gonna be the guy that calls somebody out in a public setting or tweets at them for not scoring a touchdown because of my fantasy team.
But did I DM him? Maybe.
No, I would never. But like, man, I was the sheer. I was so shocked. I
You
was
had that moment where
disappointed.
you kind
I
of
went,
understand it. You went, I get why people send
I
tweets. I get it.
yeah, I went through all of the emotions in a matter of
It's
5 minutes.
yeah, yeah. Fantasy is a wild turn because yeah, like you said, yeah, you see the pick and now you're watching the rest of the play unfold, and you're like, this is six for me. This
He
is
cuts
six for me.
back
Then he
across
goes
and gets
down, and
by
you're like,
everybody, and I'm
oh
like,
my
oh, he's gonna
god.
walk into the end zone. This is gonna
He
be great
said,
for my fantasy
down,
team. And he said, no, dog.
down. He said, no points for you.
So, and then Sunday night game, you expressed your disappointment before the week even started.
Why was this the Sunday night game? Like, what was
And
even the point? Like, flex this shit out of there. You guys are the NFL. Make some changes. Like, it's just silly to me that yeah, we could have a game like this, and then like even making the schedule. Who thought that the Giants? Like, we all thought the Bengals were going to be really good this year, and the Giants were going to be dog shit. So either way, you were just going to let the Bengals beat the fuck out of the Giants on a Sunday night football game. Like, yeah, I'm just not a fan of the way the scheduling works sometimes. Like, as a fan, I want to sit on the couch all day, watch an okay morning game, get a really good 1 o'clock game, get a fucking bomb 4 o'clock game, eat some dinner, watch your Sunday night football game, and then head into Monday with another good game. Like, all the shitty games should be kind of hidden in the 1 o'clock slate. Like, you should that's where all the crappy games go. So, but yeah, I mean, yeah, the Bengals get the win. They beat the Giants as expected, 17-7. Felt like it was even more low scoring than it was. I mean, you had
I
four
agree.
four scores go up, 3 touchdowns and a field goal, and it still felt like there was less than that. I felt like it was a 7-0 game. Like it just didn't feel like anyone was doing anything exciting. But the Bengals really needed this win. It felt like they were playing chess in this one, that they weren't trying to go over the top. They just simply wanted to win. Like they got their 7 point lead, and then it
Yeah,
coasted all the way through like midway, maybe late through
Cincinnati
the
needed this
third.
win. So
Yeah, they needed this. Like falling to 1-5 just could not have happened. The Giants being at 2-4 was like, yeah, whatever. That's kind of expected, so whatever. But
yeah.
yeah, the Bengals really, really needed this win. So I mean,
All
yeah, it was
right.
good to see. But
How do you feel about tonight? Bills at New York Jets.
I think I like the Bills. I think the Jets have too much shit going on, and they're always just such a like we say, Jets doing Jets thing. So yeah, I mean, give me
Yeah.
and I think off of a bye, if I'm not mistaken. No, who
Uh,
did the Bills play last week? Shit. Bills played.
yeah, neither team's off a bye. The Bills played the Texans.
Houston. That's right. Yeah, they
Yeah.
lost that tough game in Houston. So yeah,
Yeah.
I think the Bills get in there and get
And then
busy. I think that they definitely take care of business.
Jets came back from an ass whooping in London.
Yeah.
So
So yeah, I think that they continue that
yeah,
that momentum downward, and I think that the Bills get right tonight. I think that they're whooping some ass in New York because again, that's not a super far travel thing. It's just the other
yeah.
side of New York. It's a couple hour bus ride or whatever. If they fly, I
Right.
guess I don't know, but um, I guess they probably do fly, right?
I'm guessing they fly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
'cause that's probably like a 5 or 6 hour drive. So yeah, they
Yeah.
probably fly. That's a 45-minute flight. So
I'm praying for good health because MetLife Stadium sucks. So
yeah, that
hopefully
too.
everyone stays healthy and there's
On
not.
their feet.
Yeah, we don't have. My hope is that the biggest story out of this game isn't injuries.
Right. Yeah, we don't
You
want to
know,
see anything like that.
so I do agree with you though. I take the Bills, especially -1. I don't know. I don't know why people think the Jets are going to be in this
Yeah,
game.
yeah.
Aaron Rodgers, maybe.
Yeah, Vegas loves
Um,
the
and
Jets, but
also,
I don't
I
know.
guess, yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, we're degenerates. Vegas seems to know more than we do, but seems like
What a
pretty
weird
good bet.
concept.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah.
All right, wrap up our Monday morning here. Emma Morano of Italy was the last documented and verified person to die that was born in the 1800s. She lived from November 29th, 1899. She died April 15th, 2017.
Damn. So everybody, I mean, I guess that makes sense now, 124 years later, but
Yeah,
everyone from the 1800s is dead. So that was the last person 7 years ago.
yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy though. Living
Yeah.
from 1890, like, can you imagine being born in 1899 and then someday your kid has an iPhone? It's like, I'll DoorDash you food, Grandma, and you're like, what the fuck is happening to me right now? Yeah, that would be pretty sketchy to be in a world where you're
Yeah.
born in 1899, you grow up in the 1910s, and then you're hanging out with kids in 2015. Like, yeah, that's fucking.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy though. Yeah, you don't really think about that stuff of like who's the oldest or who carries over from what generation to what and things like that. But yeah,
Right.
being born in 1899 and then
Live
living in the
three
2000s
live in three
is
different centuries is pretty wild.
that's pretty crazy. So,
All right,
all
guys.
right, cool.
Hope you have a great
Solid
Monday.
stat.
We'll
Yep.
catch you Wednesday morning. We'll have an episode recorded and we'll go from there.
Yep. We'll see you guys then.
Like,
Appreciate you.
subscribe, rate. Appreciate
Like
you
and
all.
subscribe. Thank you guys. Appreciate it. See you later.